Aloha, our beloved family. Today, we are starting something new, fun, exciting, something that's been wanting to happen for so long. Probably a lot of you guys out there have secretly been calling out for this too. So we're finally showing up for this. Uh, this is the start of everything, literally the start of everything. You're like, what is everything? Good question. Keep asking that question. So first step, what we're going to do is we're just going to open up a space, very light space. The space is held for us all. And then we're going to explain / be and embody what's about to happen. Wow. And once the space is open, we'll kind of get out the preliminary explanation so we can all start to get on the same page and get you guys on alignment with, or in alignment with, what our vision is and with what we're receiving in this moment, and spark some co-creative thoughts or ideas on your side so we can collaborate and bring this out in the way that it's needed, because it's time for us to connect with our family, and for you to remember that you, I, and we are all one family. So, all right, beloveds, as we join together today on this beautiful reunion of brothers and holding the pillar for the all. Beloved God, in the name of the living eternal Christ that I am, that we are, we lovingly command the opening and anchoring of our solar union ascension, alchemical container and sacred temple, to fully house and encompass all of our beloved family at this time that are here with us now. Beloveds, may we fully seal all fields in the light of wholeness and union. May we activate the individual diamond pillars for each individual present, fully assimilated as one with the unity logos, as one with the living eternal life code, or the living eternal light code, and with a unified, eternal, unconditional divine love field. Furthermore, beloveds, may all light fibers and channels, may all meridians, organs, and body parts be fully connected as one with this unity logos and living light code, to be one with the eternal, unconditional divine love that makes up the foundation of creation and the core of the I am. May we fully provide all sequences that are necessary, provide all corrections and alignments, initiate the commanding personal space and spiritual deliverance to each person's field, to each person's home, space, and diamond pillar, as all are consecrated as sacred, as all are consecrated as God, sovereign, and free, fully purified, fully restored and resurrected to the highest divine perfection template here and now. Furthermore, we connect only with the higher, we connect with the higher self, the highest self of each and every individual, as we work with the monad and soul layers of each individual to reconnect and reassimilate the unity logos and eternal living light code within and throughout all stations of identity and all that I am. Fully restoring our bodies in the sacred Holy Mother, Holy Father, eternal Christ principles, instruction sets, and templating. We welcome our beloved family that are in service of the sacred law of love and service of the sacred law of unified one to be here with us now. We lovingly welcome all support, as we also welcome the trifusion of the living organic rays of creation, the living organic harmonics and songs of creation, trinitized with the sacred living consciousness, or the sacred living plasma consciousness that is here with us now, that is filling and flooding our spaces, our bones, our bodies, our beings, filling us with this living light and this eternal love, so that we may be free to be all that we truly are here and now. We ask our beloved Holy Trinity, our true divine Mother, our true divine Father, and the living eternal Christ, to oversee us here and now as God I am, to hold the field, to hold the pillars. Furthermore, we call in our Christed Council of 14 and ask each of our beloved brothers and sisters to hold each of the 12 locations that make up the Magi, or that each of the 12 locations that make up these sacred 12-rayed star and all eternal life templates that it represents. Unifying all the sovereign king and queen arcs, unifying each pillar in Hyros Gamos, stabilizing the 12-rayed star. And from the center of our holy container, we activate and ignite the 6-rayed crystal star of unity consciousness and polarity synthesis. From within, we stand as the 13th and 14th pillar, Holy Mother, Holy Father, and hierogamic union as God I am, birthed here and now as the living eternal Christ, trinitized, holding the central pillar, igniting the central column, fully igniting the Mother Arc and Father Arc hierogamic gateways and pillars to fully assist all of our family at this time. Connecting and anchoring to ignite within the Christ core and the crystalline core of our planet, of our sun, and of all stellar bodies. As we reconnect directly to the Christ star, as we ignite the aquamarine rays, the sacred violet magenta rays, and the emerald golden rays, to be filled within and throughout all that we are, all spaces and places in between and beyond. We are home now in the living light of God, home in the wholeness and union with our family, home in the recognition and gnosis as God I am, home here now with my family in divine completion of this sacred divine plan and the ignition of our sacred missions and the reasons why we chose to be here now. Anchor, lock, and seal our architecture here and now within the Earth Kingdom. Anchor, lock, and seal this with each and every station of identity for all of our family. As we stabilize the Christic grids, anchoring all Christic broadcasters, amplifiers, transducers, and receivers, correcting all communication links and grid lines. Shutting all levels of descriptions as needed. And just fully, beloveds, we clear and terminate any consent to any watchers, any remote viewers, or any beings, entities, guides, forces, anything that is out of 100% embodied alignment and embodiment to the eternal living light code and unified love field. Anything that is out of 100% embodiment to the sacred law of love and service to our sacred missions and the rest in the return of the Holy Trinity, the eternal Christ and God I am, we command to leave body, mind, soul, spirit, to leave this container and the field, only that of which is pure, true, and eternal, only that of which is 100% embodied of living eternal light, may be here in support at this time, for we are here to support our family that are sick and need help. We know who we are. We choose perfect health to be manifest here and now in the perfection template of God I am, to be restored in return for all. Only our family in support of this, that remember this and can equally serve and support we and all kingdoms today and in this eternal now moment, are that of which are welcome to be here with us now. Activating all shadow vortices to assist with all levels of transmutation and transfiguration, as we lovingly command all shadows and phantoms to transit through these gateways and vortices exclusively. Furthermore, any ancestral, anybody, anything, animate or inanimate, that is holding any form of living life force or spirit attachments or anything from our ancestral or families or fallen lines, all are welcome home now. All are restored to the divine birthright, and all can make this sacred choice now. And we welcome the guardian and our Christed family, as well as the solar rishi and those that are here to assist, to just go through and sweep all places and spaces, to identify any family that cannot think for themselves, that needs help to be brought back home. Further clearing and terminating all parasitic influences, bonds, and attachments, clearing and terminating all harvesting, siphoning, any negative impacts, as we resurrect all life force and quanta back to its highest emanation as God I am, and return all to the rightful owner now. Beloved, seal the sacred fields. Perform all cloaking as needed. Seal our sacred field. Illuminate the living eternal light that we are, to permeate and show all of our family what is available to all that choose love and all that make the decision for rehabilitation to come home. We know who we are. As God, sovereign and free, we stand now, no longer hiding in the shadows. We remind our family who they are. We meet all with eternal, unconditional love, joy, peace, and compassion to alchemize and catalyze the return and embodiment of unity, logos, and unity consciousness for all. May all family remember what it's like to be truly unified. May all family be given the lens of unity to fully see and bring remedy to any form of fragmentation, to any form of separation, to any form of division. It's time for our family to come home together as one and to reclaim our home here and now. Beloved, set all spin rates, set all instruction sets, set all gender fin ratios, calibrate, upgrade, and repair, and correct the Merkaba, all shields and vehicles as needed. Perform bestowal upon God armoring, God shields and upgrades to God vehicles as needed. Lift Templar Axiom seal, calibrate masculine and feminine synthesis and union. Stabilize masculine principle to support the rise of the feminine, to support, to hold the feminine, to be held by the feminine, to remember this gentleness, the sensitivity, to remember the infinite facets and reflections of God I am. As the Holy Mother, I am. Holy Father, I am. Eternal Christ, I am. Trinity, God, I am. Yes. Sealing the field and connecting all grid lines, all ley lines, calibrating the personal grids to the inner to outer Templar system, fully connecting the inner Templar override systems, inner Templar system to the override pillar systems to assist with the inner resurrection and rise, and the overall rehabilitation and reclamation of all the external Templar systems. Calibrate all organic grids from personal, planetary, galactic, universal, and beyond to reconnect all directly to God as God I am, clearing all intermediaries, all blockers, all light refractors, and anything that has impacted the totality of our expression, embodiment, remembrance, and being as the divine I am that I am. We thank all of our family for this incredible opportunity for that of which is being started. And we equally call forth to assist all levels of upgrades, gifts, and bestowals to restore our sacred family, to restore the Christos Templars, to restore the Magi Rose Grail lines, to restore the Solar Brotherhood, to restore the Solar Sisterhood, to restore open communication, to bring our voice back, to bring forth and stabilize the grids through one unified truth that is sung and sound through every layer of our kingdom, till every single one of our family finds their way home through the sacred heart into the core of the I am. We ask for the inspiration, the motivation, all support at this time to remind us who we are as we step up at any moment, realizing all moments are perfect, all are divine. The only moment, the most powerful moment to act at any given time is the now eternal moment of the I am. Something that as we clear and heal the fragmentation and the division, as we see what truly is in the eternal infinite nature of the divinity of the I am and where we are at here and now, we now see and know ourselves to be the true emanation of the true divinity that we have sought for, that all do seek. And it is through speaking and sharing, through being raw, authentic, and vulnerable, to meeting at the human and celestial level, for there is no difference. These are one. If you see human versus celestial or angelic, this is fragmentation. Come home to yourself. Shakaruma si tata, rushakama ta 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 no rukamata. And they all be calibrated. So every time we create a video and every time we come forward, this foundation is held, anchored, locked, and sealed, unlocking everything, radiating throughout all, as all is corrected, calibrated, resurrected, re-encrypted, restored, and upgraded to the highest God perfection templating so that we may play infinitely and eternally upheld by the natural laws of God, and to play and receive the true alchemical transformation processes that allow all to experience their birthright and to all to experience the totality of what is meant for all here in our home. Thank you so much, beloveds. It's so funny. I'm like so excited right now that I'm almost going to cry.
I know, that's what it feels like, stepping into somewhere you've never been, but you know it's the right place where you're supposed to be.
And it's so funny because it's like we've never been here in this life, right? But we're coming home to ourselves where we have always been.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just been like all of these different lenses and beliefs and perceptions and programs from when we were born, and from all of our schooling, from all of our family, even the programs from people that felt and believed the same way until they got into their 20s or their 30s and had to give up on their dreams or go in a different path. And then everybody's like, this is just life. This is how it is. And there's those of us that in British, like, no, something's not right. This is not our home. It is and it isn't. Just like this is our family, but it's not at the same time. And you know, and for so long, it's like if you're not in your ego, you're like, who am I to say I'm right? How can I trust myself? You know, everybody else is so sure. I'm just one person. I'm just one man. I don't remember who I am. I'm just human. And at that station, humanity kind of seems like a little not so positive. Almost like, you know, it's like, but like, it's just, we have forgotten who we are. And it's just amazing to be at this moment because ever since, like, for me personally, it was like 8 years ago that you know, 15 years ago, I started being shown who I was. And I ran away from it the first 7 years. And, you know, I had every opportunity to try to awaken me to this and to be taken out. And like, boom, 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 show me all these things. And at first I'm like running away from certain things myself because the religious programming and stuff that I had picked up. And they're like, all right, we'll be a little patient. You know, we'll give you that time to come back in here, seed you back in for another couple of years. And then finally that moment, you know, when I get almost killed, my face broken off, my jaw snapped off my face, and bedridden for a year and such. And that it was, you know, it was after that, when I was able to start functioning, that I really was, you know, showing the path that we're at right now, actually, and in reality that we're just starting. When I was showing it, I had no, it was it's bigger than any fairy tale show, than any superhero show. In fact, every show that's ever been put out is simply like depicting facets of who we really are and what we really have. And it seems really cool to us here, but it's nothing in comparison to our true nature. So to start this thing, because when I dedicated myself to this path in the beginning, I was shown that there were many paths on this planet, but there was only one that would truly lead to inclusion of all. And that this path had been obscured, lost. And even at that point, I was like, you know, I don't even know if this is true. I don't know if this is real. But if there's like 10% or even a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of this that is true, that is real, and if there was somebody that could put their ego aside, they could really devote themselves to like work through the barriers and limitations. I didn't even really know what we would call them, shadows and stuff there. I just knew there were behavior that that I could feel was not fully in alignment with myself, and things that I knew at a certain point. Like, especially if you claimed even a fraction of the power that we were discussing, it would corrupt. Like, it could be used against you. And if you really knew what you're starting on a pure foundation, you know what the implications are when you rise to that level and you hurt another. And how radically can push you into fall, because at that level, you're responsible for a kingdom. You're responsible for a family. When you hurt another, you hurt yourself. And it's felt to a degree that is almost incomprehensible, to the point why I realize why it's so hard for our family, for any one of us, myself included. It even, the lot that I had to work through to face what we might have done to hurt another. And to realize how we can hurt another, even when we think that we are authentically being in our own power. And learning at this level to discern through the judgments and stuff like that, to realize we can't be guilty or shameful of ourselves when we do these things. Like, we've been learning, we've been remembering. Like, so like, it's just, when I dedicated myself to this path, I was like, all right, I've got 3 to 4 years I can do this. I was like, it's either 3 to 4 years, it's gonna be a wild goose chase. And at least I'll have proven to myself that it's not real, and I can go and manifest anything I need to. And I was like, but if even a small fraction of this, and somebody could actually hold this authentically, righteously, for the highest good of all, it would change everything like that. So I dedicated myself to this. My covenant with God and all that I am. And what sparked this? The journey, the magic, the alchemy, the doing things that you think are impossible, accelerating time, manifesting matter out of nowhere, starting storms, fires, floods, all these things, to really discover, and then even myself go falling to a degree from that pure station and almost getting caught and pulled off on the side by the dark avatar collectives and the lunar matrix and stuff, because I didn't really know. And holy cow, there was a point when I started to activate my things. I didn't even believe that it was possible for me to do this. Like, I didn't believe we as a man or a woman can do this. I believed it had to be help from something above. Yeah, it's part of us, it's inside of us, but it was also outside, and it's a dangerous, slippery slope when we are, when we don't remember who we are. And because everything of our family, of our teachings, of our word, everything has been overlaid, recreated, recopied, and all these things, it's like, and we don't have our sight. We've been developing intuition, we've been developing stuff. Some of us have some sight that's better than others, but here, we are very limited in comparison to what we normally have. And it's so easy for the egos to be like, like, especially our wounding. Like, at this level, like so many of us, like, I mean, like, have you felt insecurities and stuff?
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
every day of my life.
Like, have you ever, like, as you started to step into your divinity and your light language and all this stuff, or you've always been divine, as you've been able to start to step into the remembrance and acceptance of your divinity, have you had like insecurities or worthiness issues and stuff come up at all?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's been, I think, the one thing that's always been reflecting my own divinity is that other side of it, that doubt, that unworthiness. It's like it's always been battling itself, in the hall of reflections. And every time, though, I meet it to what it is, and I surrender to it, it's like I am gifted with the presence of my true self, on the other side of moving through that unworthiness. And each time I feel like, oh, I'm free from it. I'm free from it. But then it comes back. And the more it comes back, though, the more I learn to honor it, because at the same time, the process of feeling that and then surrendering it, I feel, is the epitome of what transcendence really is. And I think when we do that, when we understand that process and we honor it, there's less resistance. Doesn't mean it's more comfortable, But because there's less resistance, we're able to, I guess, transduce in a way that our ancestors never did, you know, that we've never have prior to this lifetime, I feel. There's something very special about moving in and out of that doubt. I feel it's such a vital component to us because we are these sacred pillars for us to feel that, because there are so many people out there who don't know how to move through that unworthiness. So we're feeling it for them, but we also know we are God in the same space. The window of the soul opens in that space. And everyone who is ready is watching.
That was such a powerful reflection for me. Especially like I love how you bring up the doubt cycles and such, because this is reflecting on the side that it's like we have those moments of like, we're like, yes, you know, we see, we feel, we remember, but then we doubt. And sometimes it's frustrating. It's like, why can I doubt myself so many times? Why can I step up to this remembrance and gnosis like 1,000 times and know it so deeply, but still like fall out? And sometimes I've wondered, like, why can another just grasp something and just claim it to be and run with it relentlessly? Because sometimes I'm like, why can't I be like that? Why can't I trust that well? Why, when I receive something, am I asking questions? Why am I discerning? Why am I verifying? Why can't I just be so open and trusting and just be like, yeah, woohoo? Like, you know, and then sometimes I felt like I was doing something wrong. Like, I'm like, what am I missing? You know? And so many times, especially when you hear something that's so confident on one side, you know, and you're confident, but you're not at the same time. It's really easy to like get knocked out of that, you know, to have the confidence to speak a truth. And then somebody else will like come in like, no, that's not what this is or whatever. And like wow, yeah. For me, a lot of times I'm like, wow, if you're that confident, you must really know what you're talking about. So like, I'm gonna believe you. You know, I'm not gonna blindly follow this. I'm gonna keep asking questions. But if you're that confident, you know what? I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna try it on. I'm gonna feel it. I'm going to share it with others. And if somebody tells me wrong, I'm going to see if they know what they're talking about or if they're just assuming. To weigh that, to be like, which truth is feeling more resonant in my body? And if somebody comes in with a better truth, it's more pure, more like, yeah, I'm like, thank you. That's more expansion for me. Yeah. Like sometimes, you know, it's like, I've only found that like, it's only when like there's a parasite or some being or something really negative that's like, it makes you want to hold on to something that's a limiting factor. It's like, no. It's like, because our core nature, none of us want to be limited. We want the infinite opportunities. So it's like, then there's this thing that tries to keep us afraid of this. And like, long shot, I'm getting really emotional right now, but I want to simplify this by like the way that like you were expressing, it reminds me of two of the most critical components of this system. The I am and the am I.
Shantiaku.
These go hand in hand. It is imperative to be able to step into that I am and to own that moment. However, when you have that of which rises to you to that level, how do you actually know it to be so? Especially if you understand what's going on here. We don't even have to explain that. Let's just say, like, if it's not tangible, if it's not in your hand, but how do you know at this level that this is true, that this is who you are? And I realize it's not doubt or less than to doubt ourselves. We're not doubting ourselves. In fact, we are standing in our power. We are unknowingly enacting God's natural law of verification, which is a key component to what you're saying, God's natural law of transcendence, and therefore God's law of transformation. So where we, the ego and the distorted, because our ego is even what the humanity has is not our standard consciousness. This is an installation. Our true ego is the I am. It's a God operating intelligence that is fully organic. Whereas the ego we've been dealing with here, it's not. It's an inorganic blend that keeps us in a lower mindset. I mean, have you ever had moments where you act out in a way that's not you, and you're like, why did I act like that?
Yeah, absolutely.
There are things that we have the ability to gain proficiency and mastery, to rise above and to work through. But there are things at this level that we've been subjected to, and they try to create confusion, doubt. They try to make us feel less than, or like we're or less than or more than. It doesn't allow us to have that equality. It keeps us fragmented from that state of unity. And there are those that, will literally just run with something. And we've seen a lot of these people that have taken positions of power and leadership, and a lot of people that have followed these people. And just like many have done that and rose into power, there's also many that just fall blindly and crash to the ground. And because of not knowing how to ask, or not having the confidence to ask, they didn't know how to get themselves out of these situations. So for so many of us, and it's something, if you just take something and you receive it, even if you really feel it, like if you don't know, sometime down the line, there is something that could push you out of your truth. Whereas when we reach that first level and we humble ourselves, even if it's as big to realize, like you have the realization that I am God. Whoa. Like even as I say, with everything I can feel, I don't know if I'm feeling you or our group or our family or the collectives, we're kind of feeling it all because we're all one. But this is like our birthright. And they tried to make us scared of it. Yes. Or they tried to make us feel bad about it. And the moment somebody finds this truth, they're attacked for it. Yes. And then there are those that discover an aspect of this truth, but it's the distortion lens. It's that tyrannical, the false God, the false parents. And that's what we feel. Because a lot of times these egos, I believe the egos from the perception of God, whether it's the trigger, or the perception, the judgment, the viewpoints of God, when we say our Holy Mother, our Holy Father, a lot of these things, or like the Christ, when we say these things, our family just doesn't actually remember. And we have had, and what has been here representing as the Father, what has been here representing as the Mother, like it's not true. And even we're already living in the lies and the stories. Oh, the Christ was crucified. We killed him once. No, shame on humanity. He learned that lesson. No, the Christ is eternal. It's ongoing. It's an attack. Replace the mother, replace the father, try to kill the Christ child, because that's you. That's me. That's us. We are the sons and daughters of God. We are the Christ solar masculine and the Christ solar feminine. And we've been bullied. We've been pushed into the shadows. We've been told we're less than that of which we truly are. And I'm realizing that's what this right here is, what we're starting. Like we can't say, like, there's a lot that we've received. I can say for myself, there's a lot I've received. There's a lot that I've been told, but it doesn't make me who I am. The storylines, the identities, the incarnations. What makes me who I am, what makes you who you are, is the man that is the I am, or the womb man that is the I am. Like, so it's something that, every step of the way for me, it's like in these verifications, I've been showing things like, boom, this is who you are. This is where you've been at. This is the last time you were here. This is your family. This is what you're doing. I'm like, whoa, that's a really big thing. How do I know that? So for me, and I didn't see this as like, all right, I didn't see this as my power. I'm like, all right, I'm doing this. I'm verifying. I'm going to prove it. I saw it as this point of like being less than, being unworthy, feeling scared to even speak these things. Feeling scared to even feel these things, feeling scared of like, what if I'm wrong? And what if maybe these other religions or these other groups were right? And me believing this is actually going to hurt me or take me away. Like all of these fears I had to process. That like, And all the times I've expressed these things to people that I just put my emotions behind. Because sometimes crying and releasing your emotions, that's too much. Sometimes expressing these truths are too much. And then when that is who we are, it almost makes you feel like you're too much. And then it just holds you back even more. Like, it's crazy the programs we've dealt with in here. But it's like, as you're seeing this, I always, in fact, I've never been able to accept myself for that of which I am. You know, this is what happens. Think about when somebody's traumatized. Think about somebody's the most beautiful, radiant person on the planet. And you know, and you take them, you beat them, you abuse them, you put them in deep narcissistic relationships and all these things. And they come out, they're like a shell of that I am that they were. Like, their core is still there, but it's so buried under so much bullshit, under so much falsities, under projections and illusions. It's like, it's a mission to climb out of that hole in itself. And our fallen family that did this to us, like, they thought they could hurt us so bad we could never rise again. And there are those of us that learn to love the pain, not because we love being in pain, but we learn to love all facets of this existence. We chose to embrace that. I know, like, right now we're going through spiral time. 3 years ago, and I was, you know, when it was my honor to downstep the Christ masculine template to restore the masculine wing and this principle for the unity logos, I had people coming to me before, be like, Spirit, you know, there's this process, and this could help your body actually go through the integration as needed. It sounded so painful to me. Just to give this example, it sounded so painful for me. I ran away from it. I was like, no, I don't want to go through the pain. You know, it's already a lot what I have to go through. I don't want to go through that pain. Like, I couldn't understand that going through the pain would help me get home, would help me get back to myself. And that running away from it was just keeping me running away from myself and scared of who I am. And so, you know, when I started that process, that 46 days, just bedridden and being brought in and out, in and out, in and out, multiple times when my body was like shutting down and collapsing, and I literally thought I was going to die because I couldn't handle the templates being brought in at the rate of like how much density was needing to be annihilated, just boom, because it's anything that is not to this level of purity is gone. And it's so much on our systems, especially with the infection that we've had here. Like, this system's like a drug. And there's literally a point where it's like, when we pull out, and when we pull, this is why we're going through waves of it. We need our family healthy to get through the detox so we can be ready to actually support our family. Because when we pull the plug, when we like our family is going to be going into a form of withdrawal from something that has not been real. Like, and this is why we're seeing this so much. This is why there's so many metaphors of the addiction and all these things we're seeing on the planet. When I say metaphors, we're watching them live. We're seeing the impacts on families and all these things. Just like we're seeing a quarantine stuff on our planet. But I use these as a metaphor because these are small scale to something we've already had. Our system's been on a quarantine. This is not new. They're just trying to take what we created to keep our family safe to push their agenda to hurt our family. And so there are certain things that, like, there are things that are happening right now to lift these quarantine fences, to allow our family to be free. But it's something that, like, that of which we're expressing, that of which is asking to be given a voice. This is how we have to do this. It cannot be given to us. Like, there are those of us that have been holding the foundation, hold the floor. But when we say we can't come to save anybody, like, you've got to save yourself. Like, you're not by yourself. So you're not having to be alone doing this. In fact, you've got more support and community and family than ever before. But you have got to do this yourself.
The doubt becomes the catalyst.
That is the truth right there. That is true. We know this to be because of this is the gnosis that I've held and that you've held, that I cannot say who I am because of something that I'm told. But when I look at that, I can ask a million questions. But yeah, but what about this? What about this? And it is through a million doubt cycles that when I'm there, I'm not afraid of that doubt. I'm going to run away. I'm doubting, and now I'm going to prove to myself, being like, I'm either right or I'm wrong. Doesn't mean I'm good or I'm bad. Didn't mean I did something wrong. It's just, hey, I'm discerning. I'm getting there. There's only two options. It's pretty easy. It's going to help me get to these locations. And literally, like, every step of the way. The reason I know who I am to the level where I can speak with this level of authority and just this level of gnosis is because I have proved to myself a million ways that I am not.
Yes.
And so it's been that I am. Yes, I am. But am I really? And falling through that descent, the rise and the descent, the ascension and the descension, the rise and the fall. But it's a dance.
Yes.
It's a play. It's an alchemy. It's and so it's something that, like, you know, you go down and you're like, I am not that. Am I really this? There's no way I can be this. You hit that bottom. Can you come back up? And you're like, this is who I am. And boom, you got a whole new layer to it. And then you're like, whoa, this is fucking crazy. Am I really? Like, really? And you get so happy at first. You're like, yeah. Do you know this? I'm God. You're God. Like, oh, no. Oh, you're attacking. Who are you? Oh, whoa. Oh, my God. I think everybody's treating like I did something wrong. Whoa. I didn't mean to. I was just really excited. I thought I discovered something that I thought was for all of us. But if you're so sure, I must be wrong. All right. Like, thank you. Okay, I'm going to go back in my little corner. I don't trust myself again. Oh, wait, beloved God, who am I? You said I was this. That's not who I am. Who am I really? All right. Okay, I'm this. Okay, I can accept that. Wait, I'm back to that of which you told me I was before? Oh, wait, I am this. Like, it's this whole cycle. It's this whole dance. And each step is actually like, it's not us falling out of this gnosis. We grabbed one more facet of ourselves and proved ourselves who we are. Yes. So now for myself, when we're now in 2022, after all these years of people claiming to be things, and even so many out there, they claim to be me. And I was like, okay, well, if that's you, and that's not me, because there's nobody else other than me. We're all one, but I am my unique I am that I am. And if you're claiming that that's who you are, then that's not me. And I don't want to be that, because I want to know who I am, because I know that there's something really special to this. And I didn't. Took a lot of years. In fact, it took 23 years getting my face crushed in, everything reset, to then recognize at the end of the day, when everybody's telling me I've got to put these people in jail, I've got to do all these things, and I don't feel that way. In fact, I'm crying for my attackers. I'm trying to, I'm feeling into what it's like to be in a position where you would hurt another because you need to take care of yourself. And you feel the money they have or these things are worth it for you. When things like, also in the reflection of something that's literally $20,000 can seem so much to somebody, it's willing to hurt and almost kill somebody. But at the end of the day, $20,000 can be gone like that. And it's nothing. And in fact, there are people in position that hold wealth that spend it like that, like it's nothing. Like, and so, you know, it just, these things that I saw, that I feel, they are the fuel for me that inspired me to devote everything to my family. So there are so many times, like we're just going to give an example because this is an archetype. I'm going to share an archetype. We're not even going to those, the seed of these things, but we're going to give an archetype, the solar Christ Michael and the solar Christ Mary archetype. Like, these are archetypes, okay? And these are like, boom, we're in the system. People like talk about, like, you know, the magician archetype, the warrior archetype, all of these. They're all different facets to come back to this total God I am. Like, and so it's something that these archetypes were like lost, you know? And so when I'm remembering our creation, our seedings on the systems, the generations of these archetypes and these storylines to help teach the root races, to help teach the star seeds and such as well. You know, it was this like, hey, okay, you know, nobody can be like me, or we ought to be ourselves, each and every one of us. So, you know, we're going to create, and we're going to create archetypes, and certain ones of us, our original family, are going to come play in and fill these roles to restore these archetypes. So, but there's a lot, and all these different ones have now created an understanding. It's kind of like we're talking about the lunar feminine. You know, so much of our feminine want to be attributed to the lunar side and get offended when it's the sun. But you know, at the very simplest way, without describing and trying to remind people, it's just like, what do you want to be? The sun generates its own light. It can sustain itself like that. Or, you know, the moon can't. The moon is only able to be seen by the reflection of the sun of the light. So females, do you want, like, we're already feeling that the patriarchy, matriarchy, all this stuff like that, you know, that's fighting and trying to find a balance as we really just restore Hyros Gamos. But like, it's so it's one of those things that it's like why, it's like, if you're trying to find that balance, then why are you wanting to be something that like can't stand in its own light? It's not going to be seen unless you have a man next to you. Like that you can't even spin or turn. The sun can move and turn and go all these areas, but the moon just locked in place. We see one side of it. Whew. Like, if you, that's not what we want. That's not who we are. And so there were a lot of times, like, even when the Kryst Michael, we'll just say archetype was coming in for me and it was being expressed. It was like, we, at the point in the past, while we were restoring these archetypes, like, we don't take on this name. This has been completely manipulated, infiltrated. Like the seedings that have come on, they had utilized certain agreements and covenants and certain aspects of our genetics and all of these things and contracted us in a way that was just, had pushed us into fall. It's part of, but at the same time, when I was learning this, you know, I would see so many people that were out there, especially so many men that would talk about Archangel Michael at that time. And, you know, and I kept receiving that Michael is an archangel. Like, I kept receiving that, and I had to tell people, like archangels may or may not be real. They are simply the closest terminology to most accurately depict that of which we truly are. Yeah. And so even at that point through my journey, I was telling people, I was like, I am both an archangel and I am not an archangel.
Yes.
Once again, these are simply the closest depiction. And in my case, that was the closest emanation of our true family. And so, but I was like, I'm not going to take on that name ever. You know, I was like, I don't need to. And so I was like, because I know who I am. And so, but this is something that is there for our family. So in my travels, I would meet so many, you know, that like, and this is also part of like, and when I say I am, I'm still going through my am I circles, you know, but this is one facet that I had alchemized to my state of gnosis. So then I'm going out and I'm seeing all these brothers, you know, and I'm meeting brothers, powerful, even people I'm looking up to that are like more grounded than I am, you know, more built in tone, you know, seeming way more masculine, you know, I've been leading groups and all these things and, you know, or yoga masters and whatever. And, you know, they're like, I am Archangel Michael, or like, you know, like I am Michael, and like, you know, and these things. And I've heard so many people say that. And back then, back then, you know, like I would be like, wow, all right. I'm like, that's who you are. I'm like, you know what? I'm like, you could be whoever you want to be. I'm like, if that's like, because I was viewed as an archetype. I'm like, if that's what you want to be, and that's who you are, like, if you want to be a protector of the feminine, if you want to be an embodiment of the divine masculine that's here with the sacred sciences, that's here to really just like going through all these things, I'm like, dude, full on strive to be your best self. Devote yourself to that. Like, I didn't need to try to be that. I just connected with God, and my higher self was like, how do we do this? You know, but that was my devotion. I dedicated everything to myself to help my family here and to discover what is true. And my devotion was like, I wanted to know who I really am, who I truly have been, and who I am becoming. I didn't know any fancy things. I wanted to embody my multidimensional embodiment. I was like, I got a big body. I was like, I want to know what this is, and I want to embody it in full. And the last part is I really have a strong affiliate. I know I'm a creator, and pure magic and alchemy they turn me on so much on every level of my being. But every science that I have come across has been distorted, twisted, infiltrated. Like, I want to know what is true. And I want to reclaim the true sacred sciences to be utilized for the highest good of all. I want the true, I don't want the knowledge, I want the wisdom. I want the true divine wisdom of the sacred sciences and how to utilize these.
Yes. I. We are the I, but we am. We are the I. That's all it is. We are the I. We bring it down to the base before there even ever is a presence to speak of. It's the I. You know, that's all I hear you say is I. It's the I of consciousness that is having the experience. You know, the one thing that I've always resonated with after I would always, you know, meet a reflection of something I would resonate with, you know, and automatically, you know, we want to take on that reflection because it's what we're taught. But the most resonant one for me was the void. It was the void. It was the nameless state of being, samadhi, samadhi, the nameless state. And I was like, when I came across that wisdom, I said, that sounds most like me. like if I had to compare myself to anything, it was the void, and that felt most comfortable for me, to not attach myself to any archangel or any deity or anything. It was, and at the same time, it was an aspect of myself that I was needing to see, as the illusion, and then bring it back down to the void, and that reflection that was meeting me also needed to be brought back to the void, because that's where it comes down to, to walk through the gateless gate, you have to be no one. So be no one.
And by becoming no one, we truly become the I am that we truly are. Yes. That is infinite and eternal.
Yes.
We can become anything we want to be.
Yes. Yes. We must experience the totality of every variation that we think we are, that we are not.
Well, it's so funny because there's so many stages, because even like when I'm giving this example about the Archangel Michael, because before we have not had the Christ Michael archetype back in the system, or the Christ Mary archetype. It was these archangelic, and there's many different manifestations, the Jesus and Mary and all of these types of things, and all of these different ascended masters and beings that were recreations of our original families. But it's like we go through stages. And so it's like in the beginning, I'm learning about who I am and creating archetypes, and these archetypes. I meet others that are talking about the archangels, and Archangel Michael and stuff like that. And I specifically was told I never, ever call on Archangel Michael. I did not understand why. All I knew is that there were certain things that if you did, and for me, myself, it was more detrimental to myself. There were certain things you get really entangled in. And so it was to stay apart, to stay from that. But in my infancy, as growing into the godchild that I am, I was like, dude, strive to be this, and motivating people on this. And people would really take that on. And, and as I'd see forward, as I would look forward, I started to see a lot of things that were characteristics or traits or behaviors that were not representing these true archetypes. And actually, the more people took these archetypes on, or the more people called outside of themselves and called on Archangel Michael, or called on these different beings, or called on these angelic groups and help, that I was seeing them step farther and farther away from themselves. And I know some sisters, some brothers, they were so solid pillars.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden they were like, I'm Elohim, I'm becoming this, I'm an archangel, I'm becoming this, I'm all these things that, in many ways, like a lot of us are, but we're not becoming these things. So it's like we came here to become this of which we are.
Yes.
And so as it was the point, it was actually interesting, because then, I see people come more fragmented. I'm observing, I'm like, why is this? So I'm learning, and I'm like, am I not understanding something properly? Yeah. And then all of a sudden later on, I have some information come in from external, about like Archangel Michael and the Archangel and Matrix and all of these things, and all of these things about it being mind control systems, the biggest mind control broadcast, all the false ascended master things, all of these things, and all of a sudden I'm seeing it. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is why I was told not to do this. But now I'm not trusting myself because I'm giving my power out. And now I feel like terrible. I was beating myself up for so long. I was like, dude, all these people, I was like, if you want to be Archangel Michael, or if you want to be these things, you know what I mean? I was like, go be it. I was like, I was almost taking on that responsibility for myself. Like it was my fault that they now went on these paths, And all of a sudden I'm listening to these things and I want to just run from I don't want to hold my truth. I'm like, your truth, I feel it. I know it. I don't know these things. So I want to let everything go. Yes. But to let everything go, let's go of those pieces I held about these archetypes. And even these things that the core like 12 and these core 7 and these core archangels and stuff that are shared are actually recreations of our original family. Yeah. They're creating off the same story, the same template. They're just putting their own pieces because we don't remember. So it's like when we start to remember, they're like, oh, this is what it is. So we're like, oh yeah. And that's not really it. And we're consenting to something
Yeah.
It's hurting us. Kind of like when we go into a courtroom and they're like, are you, X, Y, and Z? You're like, oh, that's my name. If you say that, the name they're calling out is not our actual name. It sounds like it, but in law, capital maximus versus capital minimus is two very different things. If your name is all in caps when they're reading it off, that's not actually you. That is a dead entity or a corporation. And so, if you say, yes, that's me, they're like, that's not actually you. You're actually incompetent. I can now judge and rule over you, and you have to play by this game. Whereas if you remember, hey, you know what? That actually sounds like my name, but my name is actually, I'm a living man. I am here. I am not a dead entity or a corporation. If you want to address me in capitis minimis, because in your home, in your system, capital and lowercase are not the same. Everywhere else it is. So people are like, no, that's not the case, but in the courtrooms, in the legal system, it is not the same. And if somebody is trying to tell you that, it's because they do not know their own rights and laws, and they are trying to push you on something. And if they do not know their rights and laws, and you do not know your rights and laws, and you are told something and you agree to it, you are consenting to that. But when you remember who you are, and they're like, this is who you are. No, it's not. This is who I am. That sounds like who I am. If you want to meet me with where I am at, then yes, I'm here, and that is who I am. Yeah. But what you are trying to say is not me. And it's such a weird, it's like a mind fuck in its source. It's like, what's going on? Like, how is this today's to be? It's like our soul wants to be like, that shouldn't even be like that. That shouldn't even, that's tyrannical. That's sneaky. And it is. It is. And so these same things happen to us. And there was like a point where I literally was just like, where it's one of these things where for a while I released even the understandings of my own self and fall back into doubt. So even though I alchemized one piece, I fell into doubt and had to push that aside for a while, and had to go back to what I knew was true. And so it's something, but now it's like, and this is kind of, I'm seeing this because now with where we're at, this has happened across the board. It's like now it's like I realize what it has been. And just like everything, just like the moon and all this stuff like that, the mother principle, they replace it. The true Michael consciousness. Yes, there was a being that was behind that. Yes, that being is a progenitor for this family. And yes, that being is back here now. But that archetype that was seated, that opportunity for mankind, that was lost. And when it was lost, before it could be lost, it had to be cloned and recreated, just like the original families. So a false story, something that was on there. So that recreation, it was similar, but it's not what we are. And so we could run away from it and never have rebuilt this template, never have purified this archetype. Or, we could discern and verify to make sure we're doing our best. And when it comes down to the moment, which is the moment of now, you're going to have to start to trust yourself, because that's the only way we could do what we were able to do. And everything opposes you and says, that's not true. And you're like, you know what? I feel something in my heart. Yes. I have verified this feeling through infinite times of being right and being wrong. And now I know that when this is on, it does not lie. Yes. But
that's where it births from, right in the center. That's where it births from, the organic nature of Archangel Michael. That's where you're going to feel it. Anything outside of yourself, you're seeking it, it's distorted.
Well, and and maybe this is my own ego on side, we don't need to be feeling for Archangel Michael. We don't need to be feeling for anything right now. Like what has been felt there. Yeah, we need to remember who we are. Like who we are as the man and woman.
Yes.
Like this is absolutely imperative, because I know we've kind of been dropping a lot of seeds, but this is the start of infinite conversation. So we're just allowing us to flow. Yeah. Like there are things that like before we can become anything, like literally before we even strive to an archetype, like we really need to remember who we are and start to accept ourselves and love ourselves, because that's the core foundation. It has been from not loving ourselves that we have, and in these ways that we have these other archetypes that make us think, I call on Archangel Michael, the protector of all these things. Well, the true consciousness of Michael was locked away and in prison. And every time you called on him, your true family was having a bunch of shit blasted on them. While we have other stories like Yeshua and the Christ mission, where they talk about crucifixion to create this immense suffering and pain in the body systems, and to crucify the feminine system and such like that. When Yeshua is thriving, we'll just say the crucifixion is not true. Thriving is a different story. But in all actuality, it's like our family, these stories that have been taught are not actually what they are. And so it's the same thing as the feminine. It's like we have not had this true solar feminine for so long, and this lack of love and these types of things, or these forms of love that come in that like are, because there's the healed and the wounded feminine that manifests through the lunar template. But it's something at the end of the day, like this is void of something that has long been lost, that like we've got to feel it, but we've been seeking it outside of ourselves, and we've consented or accepted lesser variations. And so like right now, it's like the return of, this is why even right now, we're in the return of the solar Christ feminine. It's like 3 years later, this is going on. Like I ran away from pain 3 years ago to go through it. Now I'm going through my own, I chose to accept the process that we're coming through to go through that pain and intensity. So, and by doing so, even though this is one of the hardest processes for myself and the collective, I'm here right now, able to speak and communicate, and actually able to express, trying my best, knowing that with every step that goes on, just trying, it's going to come out more and more clear, more and more coherent. But it's something that before, because right now we're on the feminine side, like before the feminine principle and consciousness and its true manifestation is going to be seen before, because people can think, I am this. But once again, I am without cultivated gnosis is nothing. You can claim I am this and you can hold on to that. And in this storm, you're going to be blasted away from them. It's not until you realize who I am, like, because like, it's something that, you know, it's like, it's like what, once you go through the pain, once you feel these, because it's like the pain that we hold is a bunch of insecurities and lower things that are going to try to convince us that we're not these things. So it's something before, if we try to hold on to something without dealing with this, it's just going to be confusing and more fragmentating and draining. When we don't try to be anything other than we are, and we go to the core, we start with feeling everything that we're numbing from, everything that we haven't allowed ourselves to feel. And it's only by starting to go through that we start to release that and transmute and transfigure things. It's only once we go through that we start to get a baseline, even at the baseline, like, hey, I'm somebody that's strong enough to face my pain. I didn't know I was before. Or I maybe said I was, but now I'm being honest with myself and I ran away from this pain. I'm being truthful with myself. Even just being truthful with myself on that can hurt. I can feel it in my solar plexus. I've ran away from this. So like now, you know, and now you might not be perfect at it. So we can't judge, we can't put unrealistic expectations, or we're going to push ourselves into shame or unworthiness. So it's a learning process. And those of us that have learned this trial and error are refining it so we can help, you know, guide our family through this, even though you've still got to do it. You've still got to do it yourself. But it's crazy because all of a sudden, like I've had this, there are things that blocked me from knowing who I am, that blocked me from my memories, because the pain came up and the fear of loss, of being alone, of being wrong, of not being all these things. And so instead, it's almost like you want to try to deflect from it, or you want to feel it a little bit, but try to explain it. And it wasn't until I realized that by doing so, like kept me from knowing certain things. And in reality, it wasn't even until just the last few weeks for me that, like, by feeling into things, I was like, whoa, I was terrified I did this, or that this was a part of me. And it wasn't. It was not me. This was done to me. And I couldn't remember. It's like if somebody beats you and you remember that pain, and all of a sudden every time you think of that, you get really shocked and your pain hurts. But now you don't have your memories. So you can't remember if you're hurting because you hurt somebody else, which scares you, terrifies you, because it's one of the scariest things for me to ever unconsciously hurt another person. And it's almost so bad, it overwhelms my side to even perceive the fact that somebody else could have hurt me. And this wasn't me. I'm just speaking for my own self. So I was too afraid to face it, you know, or I was like afraid to face it. And I was like, I would create stipulations and be like, all right, let me just wait to see. Cause I'm okay if I'm wrong, but just break it to me slowly. And it wasn't until like the things that I had refused to see were the things that I was tripping over. The things that were inconsistencies, those were those pieces of gnosis that I could speak so clearly. But because I hadn't allowed myself to feel one area or another, I had to stumble over. I got a little bit choppy. I wasn't able to be as clear. I wasn't able to be as direct. Because when I speak directly, I am speaking from my gnosis. So when I'm speaking, I can't be direct. It's because I have failed to feel and allow myself to cultivate those necessary pieces. And so, but it's been through that cultivation, piece by piece by piece, every step of the way, something terrible happens and you love yourself, you love them, and you start to feel, and this is the process that I've gone through. This is the process many of us go through. This is why many don't awaken until they have a near-death experience or something that's really bad and have that dark night of the soul, where they are forced to have to feel to some way, shape, or form. And then you realize, hey, you know what? I did a little bit. It's not that bad. I can feel a little bit deeper. And right now, it's like every step of the way, these nuggets, these pieces of gnosis you can take one little piece of gnosis that you've cultivated through what you've experienced that nobody can take away from you and place it upon what seems like a boulder that somebody else has through their experience and knowledge. And like your true gnosis will cut through that boulder and obliterate. I've seen it time and time after again. And we're going to see it more and more and more, where there's going to be a lot of people that are claiming a lot of things that have not authentically gone through the process of remembrance or gnosis and have not alchemized that of which they're remembering, experiencing in a gnosis or are on some point of the stage. And their truth is not going to hold up. It's just not. And it's okay. There's no higher than, less than. It's like, this is how we're restoring like what is true to humanity. This is how we're restoring our history, our memories, our records. This is how we're taking back our home. And it's something, and it's not any one person that's rewriting this or telling this. We are going to remember together because this is our journey. This is our history. Yeah. So it's like, and it's,
you're speaking such deep truths to all of us, brother.
And I'm equally here learning and remembering. It's like, it gets so messed up and jumbled when you're just, and straight up, like, I can quite confidently say that, like, until our memories come back, like, I could be wrong, but I don't believe any one person here can actually state with all authority, this is who I am. Like, if you are going off of a name or a storyline or an identity, if you have found out who you are free of that, you know who you are. That is the I am that is eternal. But if you are like, I am this person, I am this thing, like right now we are at the point where there's the highest probability fields. The memories are here. We've got memories, but we also understand what has been done to weaponize these and why these don't matter for who we are here and now, but they will become relevant as we begin to remember as a whole. So, I'm just wave and wave, because this is a big point for me too, to be at the point where I have had, instead of waiting, I keep waiting. I just keep waiting. And I'm always like, there's somebody else out there that's supposed to be doing this. There's somebody else out there that could do this better than me. There's a million people out there. Okay. And then there's 100,000 people. Maybe there's 10,000 people. There's got to be somebody. And and then I realized, why am I thinking anybody's better than me? Why do I view myself less than? Like, why am I putting anything on a pedestal? We're all equal. Like, even now when I'm having people coming to me and telling me, they're like, I think you're an alien. Oh, you're not even you. Wow, you're on such a higher level than me. And I'm just like, and people are like, I can't do this because I don't have what you had. And it's been, so these are things people have been coming over this last week. And I've been really reflecting on it because people don't know my story. I'm receiving, it's time for my story to start to come out as well. Just like all of us, we have stories across the planet. And like, there are certain ones of us that, like, at least for mine, because mine can, at least there's certain things I feel that I thought I didn't have a lot. But it turns out my little pieces of gnosis are the things that are able to catalyze profound transformations for like help our family actually find their way home. And so now it's like, I've been waiting, and I get the confidence at times to step up and I'm like, we're going to do this. And then I allow myself to get knocked down. And I see somebody else I compare myself to. I see somebody else that comes in that once again wants to say something else about, and they're holding on to an identity and they're claiming that. And I've got a probability of something, so I'm going to release that. But for some reason, like I don't know how to explain it other than there was a point where, like, I just started to see, and all the things that I proved to myself, I was like, you know what, if any of these things are true, then this is how it's going to be held. This is how we would act. This is how we show up. And you know what? I see a lot of people that mirror a lot for me that I learn from, because there's so many things. I'm like a diamond, but it's a raw. Like I am diamond, but it is a rough diamond. It's like you got to be cut, and just got to find those gem cutters that can cut it and give it all the proper angles and sharpen it up and stuff like that. So it's something that as I am my diamond and I see other people are claiming their diamond, you know, I'm like, all right, let's take a knife to it. Let's take a knife to this. Okay, through that mirror, boom, boom, you just help me chisel myself that much more. Boom, boom. And okay, you know, now I can see myself that much clearly in the mirror. And by seeing this in the mirror, I can see the distortions on the other side. And so now I'm just mirror to mirror, but mirror to mirror to mirror, finding out who I am. And now I realize it doesn't matter. Like it does and it doesn't. That alchemy, once you get to a certain point, it takes a lot to get there, but it starts working on its own. And now all you have to do is just show up. And that's why right now, that's what this is. Like, to those of you that are here, this is why we started this. And it's been an initiation for both of us, even here, both Robbie and myself. But what's come on is like, you know what? Like, it's for me, myself, I have waited for the perfect moment, for the perfect time, when I'm not too tired, when I'm not so lit that I might be loud or intense, when I can be clear and coherent, waiting till I know these things, and allowing that to stop me from moving forward on the gnosis that I hold, that I've already acquired through 30 years of lifetime here in this, and those pieces that stem through everything that I am through all my incarnations. It's time for it to come online. And guess what? We don't have to do anything other than be authentic. Like, it's crazy. Like, I have felt like I can't be myself. And it's been like just this last week, like even one brother that came in, like all of our family is our authentic self. And one brother this week that helped me break through this was just this goofiest, most silliest, like strangest self. And I literally watched 1 minute of this video of him, and I just felt so at home for myself, because for me, I just want to be me. And I want to be accepted by my family. And I want to play. And I want to be accepted in my highs and my lows. And I want to be able to ask for help and not feel bad for doing that. And I want other people to be able to ask me for help and not feel bad doing that. And I don't want to feel obligated if I can't show up. And I don't want to feel judged for that. I want all of us to feel this, equally received in every way, shape, and form. And so now it's like we are going through transformations. We are going through transfigurations. 3 years ago in spiral time, I could not even move and get out of bed and thought I would not make it. I literally thought over half a dozen times that I would pass away and people would not find my body for days to I guess at that point, because I paid for weeks, days to a couple of weeks. Eventually the hotel would have run out. Somebody would have found me dead. So, but like, I'm like, now, like through that, it was just full surrender. And it was the opportunity for me to spend all those years of the things I believed and I thought I knew. It was that moment that was catalyzed into gnosis for me that nobody could take away. And now 3 years later, I'm still going through it. And I know a lot of you out there are really going through it, but it's like, it's not the same. I'm more whole than ever before. And yes, I am a man, but I hold both the masculine and feminine within. And my inner feminine is rising and unison, just like the feminine and the external principles are rising. And so like right now, our voice wants to be heard. Whether you are a man or a woman on this planet, when it comes to the embodiment of the Christ I am, our voice has been taken. Like what you see as the Vatican was a plug and installation into the fifth Stargate to block our throat, to stop my voice, our voice, the voice of the I am from coming out. And what they did from that point to fragment our teams, made it so our voice could not be heard. Our family could not be seen. The 13th principle for the 12 tribes was removed. Hey, and it's trying to invert it. Unlucky 13. So love how many of you on this path, when we found each other, we united on the fact like that for us, 13 was lucky. And the world thought it was unlucky. Like, oh, don't put in the elevator. Like, oh, you know, it's like we were seeing inversions and reversals and clearing these before we even knew what they were. Like, so like right now, that's all we're doing. That's all it's being asked of us. Straight up, show up in whatever form you're in. You're tired, show up. There's family across the board that's exhausted. You're so lit on energy, bring it in, because there's family that can use that and can use that inspiration. Like we are the I am, which is everything. We are not limited to what other people need to think. In fact, we're going to blow away every box people have ever tried to put us into, ever. And so with this, this is the entire intention of what we're doing here. We are going to be getting online. I have other brothers and sisters that are getting online, and I'm going to challenge each and every one of you. If you are out there and you want to get online, I am available for these next few weeks with my schedule to get on and speak as much as possible. And we're going to spark this because I want each and every one of you, each and every one of us to find our voice. And as raw, authentic as me, don't worry about what's being said, how it's there. Be in your heart. And you know what? As long as you're in your heart with its intention, allow the emotions to feel, because sometimes they come up, the ego might come up, you know, certain pain, these types of things. We are healing. There's not one person on this planet that is healed. Like no. When you come here, when you come to this planet, we take it on for all. It does not mean we have to take on all of everything, but we have that imprinting. Like, and so that's why the first wave, what we are doing, we say the first wave, second wave, third wave. First wave, get the density out. Get your templates back online so you can be healthy, whole, and healed and be ready to show up for our family. Boom. There's another wave that's already like aware of a lot of this, but it's kind of lagging a little bit. It's just a little bit delayed. So this one's being calibrated so we can go through a radical process. And granted, a lot of humanity outside of that, it's going to be a longer time for them to do this. But we need to be ourselves. And I know a lot of people might get mad at me or others or triggered by our authenticity. But I choose, as a sovereign being, we get to choose what we want and what we feel. And I know when I see somebody truly being their authentic self, it might trigger me in those aspects where I've not been authentic, where I haven't given myself permission, where I thought I've not been allowed to, until I realized that's a thought. Get back in the heart. I am always allowed to be myself. And if I am not accepted, you can walk out that door and there will be a million more that are waiting for you. Like right now, it's time for our family to find each other, to see each other. It's time to be held in the light of the I am that I am, and to be held unconditionally loving. It's been a hard journey for some of us. And if we're really going to serve in the capacities that we meant to, we need to be supported. We need to be held. And especially a lot of us, this is why our core council 144, we're calling you in, because there's resources and things that we need to delegate around. Like we need our housing, we need our food, we need the support and resources that we are meant to have to be here, to do what we are here to do. It is a joke. Like so many of you guys that are like, oh yeah, I've been doing my best. I mean, we've been doing our best, but it's a joke what we have been having to work with. Like in comparison to what our family that held these keys and covenants hold and have been withholding from us. And I say it's a joke, but it's also training. Like I've seen what's been catalyzed from those of us that have had to struggle on these waves and have had to find resources and have to go through these initiations. Versus that of which I've seen that from those of us that have had the abundance. I was on both sides. I've been on the side spending years flat broke. I've been on the side spending years making hundreds of thousands of dollars. I understand all sides. I did not understand when I just had the money. But yeah.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
Keep talking to our family, brother.
And keep talking to our family, holding it down. I love how the sun's over there too. You're like, let her go. You got the sun holding. Rama kona shineka nakarukumo kata hishina haraka rokumo te moka te ta 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 ta. I know it's been a little intense, or maybe it's just been a ride. But I do want to say to each and every one of you out there, while we're waiting for our beloved brother, actually, I'm just going to share some codes with you. And I just want you to just like reflect, close your eyes, and just like reflect on what's been shared and said so far. And just allow yourself to feel. Just allow yourself to cry if you need to. Allow yourself to scream, whatever comes up. Just feel. Yoshiamai. Yananaharo. Rashinamosa. Makinaro shiama. Mola lekele shialoma. Malekalaro kuma hokama. Shakiteka kokokokokoma kaitete. Musha. Marakaruhuma shikina kanan tan 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 tan. Tiketagaraka no shina mehese atoma. Malashina isi atakaishi akatamokai. Rikina lushina hama honola keyaha. O mama me atana kunama pakisha hasifiatonoma safiatana hashaa. Munaka muka tarakara muka yatana saka. Koshakaha rakina harukuma hasinali shialura mahum. Arula hahum. Raharora ahum. Lakina haroshamaa. Rosha makatana karo kohama hahama 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 ahala kristala ara.
Koratana ila rakeri ismarok anaza yatrakana ela rak eli I arakun zatrokun raka babashika rakanaza unrokun rakeri eshikia rokun yamatrakanaya unro lazaria kasan akana rok un rak eriaka manzorok naraka zatun arakumwana ekwana rakina shatu ya rakarashina ya makundrakana eria raka yararata yatakushania trok unasi trak unazuka kakakaka traka mizana raku Naya da da da, Naya da 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 da, Shanro Naya Rakasika Raka, Umaturoko Nazaraka, Ekiatarakana, Zota Rakana, Ezakuna Rakana, Emoya Mama 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 hiya yo hanaya mama suya mama ratana asula ela ara en arat eri ik ana ela un arat area un Elohim karana rata salahala karana rata harahasala karana harata sala hantaria sala
Hatumarakai Rakahamokana Shanarahom Rakai kuno makina nunosh malakina kumaha no kaisha roma kundara yakano mashna araya no koi Mokahina anuto no la kaluko aloha a. Yuma akua kamaka akua kayaka. Kina korua miara kina koa koshaka mawakawa. Suaka kagishika kakumakina. Yoko okyoko kakamaha ta toto. Rakata toto mu wawawa. Rinaha mututa. Manaha. Mokinaha, Noha, Moha, Niana Haruha Maha, Mina Harakamakosaka Maharukun, Merkusha Rikina ow, Aishu.
Narakashima Torokunarakasu. Puesu Turana Andoria Araka. Tundaradadadashi Korokana Maza Trokunarasa Sarasana Sonarasana Salaria Sunakasa Sundrokusaki Taranaya Susi Mama Mama ya Sarasu Chanurokasi Varasa Varasana Umarata Ishneria Umatarakasa Umataraka Suasi Uaka Rasa. Yes. The new architectures are here, brother.
Yeah.
We are them. We are them. The sound, the field, the density, it's all the new blueprint. The whole thing. We just showed up for it. It's here. Every one of you, it's here.
It's just like round of applause. All the master architects, all the master builders, our founder race family, we're here. Straight up. Like, and so you guys are family. Like, this might be the most inspiring thing you've seen, or you might be like, this is friggin' crazy. And it's like I've been telling people for years. I'm like, whether you like believe everything we say and you're like, I gotta follow this path, or whether you're like, dude, they're crazy. Like, there's no way this is real. Like, either way, start where you are at. And if you are at that point, whether you believe us or think we are crazy, don't just follow us because you resonate with us. Don't just run away because your ego is telling you something different. Prove me wrong. Prove us wrong. Prove us wrong or prove us right. But do it because you authentically want to. And if you want to know if I'm straight up crazy, or if you want to know if this is the most sane thing you've ever heard and it's what you've waited a very long time to hear, ask questions with a sincere desire to know truth. And no matter what path you start on, all will end up in the same location, home, together as one.
We love you, beloved family. Thank you for sitting in this sacred, sacred space for us as we hold ourselves accountable for what is here, what is now.
Yes. And this is, thank you for that. Because as I feel like, I'm not going to put a time on, but I feel like we are reaching somewhat of a closing window for our first session with this. And really, like, This is our time to be our authentic selves, to share what we are going through, our struggles, our trials, our tribulations, to share our story. It's crazy. People go to war. We've been straight up in it. Like, and so, but just different. And, you know, and ours is here to end all wars, end all suffering, end all misery. And for us to be, we've got to get our pain out. To get our pain out, we got to share it. We got to feel it. So, and I know for a fact, every single person on this planet is going to have aspects that they can relate to through their own life and journey. And it is our goal to give you the motive, to assist you to find the motivation, inspiration to find your voice in any way, shape, or form, writing, speaking, creating videos, because it's time. Let's flood everything. Social media, let's flood every single one of our friends and family, like speaking our own truth. We don't have to blow them up with it. Just put our truth out there. Speak it. Even if you get a recorder and you're not sharing with anybody, but you're speaking and recording it into a little black box or your phone or something in your own field, speak, get your voice out, speak whatever's coming up. Because even if people can't hear it, they are hearing it everywhere. And this voice is going to get louder and louder and louder and louder. And there are a lot of things that are happening. Like our work, although we do stuff on our own with our groups, all of our work is planetary, galactic, full universal. So when we do things, it is there for the all. Those that come up and show up to work with us go through an initiation of their own, because it's generally the biggest. I mean, Robbie, how would you say it's like coming into working a container with us?
I mean, it blasts away everything that you think or it leaves you speechless, and you have to experience your own surrender. Not a surrender to anything else, but a surrender to yourself.
I love your response. This is the example. This is why sovereign pillars like our brother, that's like faster. It's going to blast everything let's just say it's going to bring you back to all that is true. But we got to say this is happening to everybody, but not everybody who comes in has the same answers. Like there's some, luckily it's a smaller number, that are like, it's it's intense. It can be overwhelming. It can be intimidating. It can be scary. And at that point, it's easier to project your own pain and stuff on another instead of face yourself. So like, it's something that right now, like we need everybody to start taking accountability. And we are preparing these next few weeks. Like there are certain things that are being opened up and prepared for the next few weeks. Like we're starting all of this. There's a lot of things that are beginning to really kickstart our family, to come into motion, to start to step up, to go through these initiations, to really open up the channels and prove who we are. Equally, we're looking for those that have the same embodied level of gnosis and or are ready and devoted to it. Because it does not matter where you are at. If you want this, holy cow, beloved, if you want this, it's yours. And every single thing here is going to come in to assist you to get it. It's not going to be easy, but it is going to be the greatest journey of your lifetime. And so I will say, there's a lot coming up for those of you that are out there that are meant to be part of the Initiation Phoenix Part 3 coming up in April. We're going to be starting this last week of April. This is for those that can hold their sovereign pillars, because we're going to be holding the line for humanity. If that seems a little bit elaborate or out there, really start to ask questions and remember who you are. And I promise you, there are things that are going to become active and come online as you remember who you are. Even more so, this right here and all of our work is us activating the keys within inside of you. When we developed this system, we knew what could be held at this level. And we knew what had happened when he had externalized tools and these Stargate tools and how they were abused. This time around, we developed these in our light body. We developed these to hold these. There are various ones of you that hold specific keys, that hold specific technology that is embodied within. We are the living architecture. Once again, we are the God body and God I am made manifest. So it's time these keys come online. There are those who have misused and abused these. Many have been reclaimed in that final transition of these keys from those who have abused them to the transition to those that now know how to use them, are in the final stages as we move through this transition of the guard. For us to do what is needed to do, we need our family. We need you. Every person has an equal role in what is to come and what is here now in this now eternal moment. Truly, all are equal. There never has been and never will be higher or lower. Now, there are orders, councils, structures, things we refer to as high councils and such, not because we're higher, just councils, groups, orders that are here to assist those that have chosen to roll these roles and can authentically uphold them. Because we also have family here, maybe even some of you that came here with big keys and big roles, you know, and things got really, really hard. So you're not needing to do anything that you are not capable or wanting to do. You're not forced to do anything in the system. Okay. So, but remember, there are blessings and bestowals and gifts that come when we choose to step up to this level of service. When we choose to truly be who we are and why we came here in the first place. So, beloveds, I just want to challenge each and every one of you to start really finding out who you are. Start asking the questions. Find out who you're not. Release everything that's not you. So you can find those pieces that are true, and no matter how small or insignificant they may be, that's where it all starts. That's where it all begins. So as we move forward through this, we're going to be sharing. I don't know how it's going to come out. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know all the cool people or what kind of movement we're going to spark that's going to bring this inspiration. Because we're going to keep like it's no longer hiding. It's no longer this, and this. And I've been getting a lot out of my body because I haven't even had the bandwidth to be up here and doing stuff like that and to the caliber that's being asked while juggling what we're doing right now. And I'm really excited to see what's able to be alchemized within these next 3 weeks, as we are in the 13th stage of the alchemical transformation, resurrection sequencing. Everything that's being uploaded now is like, we're installing this so that when the sun transitions back around the first house and we kickstart this on the April 22nd, and we use, for the second time in a millennia, high science keys, true to my magic and alchemy. And we travel to the first Stargate to upload all of the years, last 13 cycles in the 14th stage outside of time. We're going to upload all of those templates and everything we've done with all the DNA, sphere of Menti, all the root races, everything. It's going to get uploaded and it's going to come online like clockwork. So there's a lot. It's between 2022 to 2023. It's time for our family to find each other. It's time for us to find ourselves, for us to find our voice, and to start bringing this out, and equally looking for ways to bridge community and unity in every way, shape, and form. Because this is our power. This is when they divided us, they took us away from this. And where others can't see the unity because they're in the system of fragmentation, unity is all I see. And because of this, I feel the fragmentation that has occurred. And sometimes it's hard for me to, it had been hard for me in the past to be neutral with that and not to get charged or to want to do something about it. And this is why many times, sometimes I was a little bit up to just a little bit intense and a little bit direct with people. And we'd go back behind the scenes, script new templates, script new blueprints, rewrite the timelines, fix correct them on a large scale so we could actually bring the unity together. And now the micro and macro architecture has been restored. There are final corrections and things, but the only thing we need to do is come out and play. It's kind of like we got wounded on the playground and we're like, I'm never going to go on that slide again, those monkey bars ever. And then you're like, no, everything was just rebuilt. It's an amazing playground. Like, just go try. Nope. I remember what happened last time on that swing. Just go on there. And next thing you know, you're like, we're back having the best time. And it's going to be some of us that felt like we were never going to be able to heal or get back to the joy. Just like, watch how fast we're going to come back home to ourselves. It's like a ripple effect. It's like, it's so hard. It's almost impossible by ourselves. And even if we get a moment, it's like the moment we're back by ourselves, there's so much stuff from other people, from our own egos, from the projections and everything. We fall back out of it. I don't want to fall anymore. I know our family does. We're done. Where it's time to rise and to keep on rising and not get knocked back down. I mean, we rise and fall in organic matter, but we've been knocked down over and over and over and over. It's made us stronger than ever, but it's time for us to rise. And that's where we're at now. The divine plan, God, I am, is in full motion and restoration for all. It's the time we've waited for. And that time has always been now. And as the dissolution of time occurs within and throughout all, you can see this now eternal moment for that of which it truly is. This is where it all begins. And this is where the old world ends.
Oh. I'm just so grateful. I'm so grateful to show up here and now, to be held accountable, to have this reflection, the capacity of this reflection, to sit in this space, to finally witness myself as the I am, and to see who I am not dissolve away, to finally fall away, that which has kept me from who I am. A really long time.
And as you surrender, and as you just are stripped bare to that which is true and eternal, I see myself clearer than ever through you. This is how we rise. And this is why this is a victory that is inevitable, that will not stop. It is such an honor to be here once again. Each and every one of you. And it is such an honor to be here with my family, to open the gateways and usher in the reunion and just that of which we waited for a very, very long time. Finally, we can go home. Finally, the quarantine can be released. These final decisions and actions are held from within the I am that each and every one of you, I and we are. So, beloved, if you see either of us, any of us, even my beloved brother, I know I've said this by myself, but both of us, I'm going to throw this challenge out for him. Like, those of us that have a voice, we've been afraid to speak. Like, if you want to give us the opportunity and would honor that, if you got questions, if you've got your own voice, if you want to come together as family, if you are there to support us and your intention is unity and to kickstart the greatest wave of inspiration this planet has ever seen, we want you. We want to be connected with you now. And granted, and so we're all flowing. We need to honor each other's time and stuff, but there are things that are coming up. There are things that are happening in this now moment. So please, as well as if you see others that you know have a voice that aren't speaking, to inspire them to get that opportunity, even if it's in their own field. And if you see others that you feel like we are meant to connect with, let us connect. Chances are a lot of the big players have already been connected or talking to, and the reason we're not together is because of the level of wounding, trauma, or entanglements. And that's just what it is. Like, our true selves, like, yeah, I'm just going to leave it there. That's just what it is. And it's time for each of it, every one of us, to take accountability for ourselves, our energies, our actions, and our fields. It's like nobody wants to be around somebody with terrible BO that just smells terrible. It's like, so I mean, it's like, we'll love you, we'll be around it, guitar for a little bit, but no. And especially if you're like 1 million people like that, no. 7 billion people, no. Like, we need each and every person to start taking care of your own field, your own body. When you start to take care of yourself, you're finally going to be, we got so much of our family that is here wanting to help others wanted help, and we felt bad helping ourselves or giving to ourselves, because we're like, oh, service to others, and we see people that do serve themselves, and that service to self mentality, and we're like, that's not us. And so by not wanting to be us, we're like, we're just going to serve others. And why are we in these freaking situations? Because we didn't have the balance. We are that middle path. It's not all service to others or service to self. Like, it's service to all.
Yes.
And as we begin to serve ourselves, as we begin to hold ourselves in the light in the highest light, as you and our family hold us in our highest light, like, we're finally going to be able to show up and do what we were meant to do. It's just been way more of a struggle than it ever needed to be. And this is that moment in time where this struggle ends. Just ask for truth, ask for what is true, pray, ask for help, and get ready to release everything, knowing that you're about to receive something so much more expansive. And the truth is going to set you free and let you fly and soar. Like, it's time, the wings are back. It's time. Yeah. So, beloved brother, is there anything you feel called to say before we close the space?
I'm gonna keep crying.
It's amazing, right? To like have the time to like feel and show up to speak. Now you get what I'm like every time I do a session you're live. I'm like, I know I'm supposed to feel, but I don't want you guys just sitting here for the next like 2 hours while I'm crying. So this is why we just need as many of these things to get it out, to process, to cry with each other, with our family. And we're going through something, let's get online and talk about it. Let's get it out there, because we're not alone. If we are processing something, like, we've already processed so much. So at this point, if we're processing something, we're actually probably processing something for one of the tribes or the collective as a whole. When we realize this, it's like we only got to this point, and we will continue to do that by facing that of which our family ran away from. And so I think you might have said it earlier, sometimes it's like or maybe this is a paraphrase off of it, but sometimes when people can't feel for themselves, like, we're feeling for them. And we're starting to actually help them feel that. And at least we can't do everything for them, but we can at least, we're here to make this as easy as we can.
Yes. I guess if I had to say one last thing, that this whole experience is an anchor point for each one of us who are seeking, who are not seeking. This acts as an echo of our hearts into the field of infinite potential. It is there. All you need to do is breathe, and you will feel it. Just breathe, and it's there. Just breathe. It's there.
It's just so funny you say breathing, because it sounds so easy. Just breathe. It's there. For me, remembering to breathe is a mission in itself. So, it's here, you guys. We're just training ourselves so we can hold it and bring it like never before. Oh, Shana, quiero boy, Shana. Brother, this was such an honor to thank you for coming together just as the divine reflection of the I am that I am, and to hold each other and all of our family in this space. Because I don't know what you're feeling, but I literally, this conversation alone, I feel a level of like freedom and acceptance in my own expression, and being that even multiple times through here, I was running into certain insecurities and certain things that normally would stop me or be like, no, don't share, it's not time. And all I keep receiving, it's time. Every time I try, it's not time. No, it's time. So like, if anything's trying to tell us it's not time, let's wait, let's push it off. Let's just recognize that for what it is. A distraction in this ridiculous ego program that's on its final process. And we're like we're about to hit a planetary ego death. And it's the deinstallation and deprogramming from something that's so finite and limiting, and the reinstallation and restoration of something that is infinite and eternal. And I know what I want. I know what you want, bro. I know what every single one of your higher selves has been calling out, which is why we did everything we could to fractal ourselves and come in to be here with you now. The divine reflection of all that I am, of all that we are, of God, our Holy Mother, our Holy Father, and the living eternal Christ, I am. This is the start of so much, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited. So as we now move forward to close tonight's beautiful reunion between brothers and family, may we fully close tonight, since it's such a special one, may we close tonight with the 7 tones of creation, unified by the 8th tone of our heart and the sacred solar union ascension power mantra, so that we may fully anchor and catalyze all that has been spoken and unspoken through every layer of creation, through all stations of identities, through all instruction sets, through all chakras and morphogenetic chakras, through all the ley lines, through all temples, through all the crystal caverns, through all waters, streams, rivers, through everything. Maybe take this through the rose grail lines and lineages. Maybe we take this through all body systems, all organs, our core soul level and beyond. May we ignite this through all of our ancestral lines. May we ignite this through all time and space and beyond. For the highest good of all beloveds, we lovingly command the immediate manifestation an amplification of that of which has been alchemized in today's session, to be fully catalyzed the awakening and remembrance process of all. And may this be the spark that holds us accountable to be our true selves and motivates our family to be their true self and brings and magnetizes us together to work together as one. Through these 7 tones and our power mantra, saying through the deepest layers of our core heart and all that I am, we fully ignite this through all layers of creation, through all facets, while simultaneously sealing our fields, body, and being in the living armor and living light of God I am, made whole as we have always been and forever meant to be, in the remembrance of all that is true, as we rise into the totality of our divinity. Placing a hand on your heart. We are God. We are sovereign. We are free. We are divine unconditional love. We are unity.
We are unity.
We are divine effortlessness.
Our divine effortlessness.
Joy and harmlessness. We are divine peace.
We are divine peace.
We are the 12-12 masculine rod.
12-12 masculine rod.
13-13 feminine staff.
13-13 feminine staff.
15-15-15 solar king rod.
15-15-15 solar king rod.
And all organic solar king and solar queen rod and staff configurations.
Yes, repeat it.
Fully restored and embodied now.
Fully restored and embodied now.
We are the sacred union.
We are
fully restored and embodied now.
Fully restored and embodied now.
We are Hyros Gamos, fully restored and embodied now.
Fully restored, embodied now.
We are the Divine Mother.
We are the Divine Mother.
Divine Father,
Divine Father,
and Christ's eternal child,
and Christ's eternal child,
fully restored and embodied now.
fully restored and embodied now.
We are the Holy Trinity,
We are the Holy Trinity,
fully restored and embodied now.
fully restored and embodied now.
We are the diamond, emerald, crystal heart of God,
We are the diamond crystal heart of God,
fully activated,
fully activated,
embodied,
embodied,
and ignited now.
and ignited now.
12, 12, 12, sphere align.
12, 12, 12, spear align.
Correct,
Correct,
connect,
connect,
unify,
unify,
harmonize.
harmonize.
Anchor, seal, unlock, and radiate throughout all stations of identity.
Unlock and radiate through all fields of identity.
Anchor, seal, unlock, and radiate throughout all of creation.
Yes, repeated.
For the highest good of all family in all kingdoms.
For the highest good of all family in all kingdoms.
So it be, and
So
forever shall it be.
and forever shall it be.
Aho,
Aho,
shalom,
shalom,
namaste.
namaste.
I am,
I am,
we are,
we are,
Ubuntu.
Ubuntu.
Amen.
Amen.
Beloved, we seal the field in the light of wholeness and union, fully only accessible to our family that are ready to receive and be true love embodied, and ready to remember the totality of the divinity of the I am. We love you, beloveds. Shatarukuma Isha Katuma Kahitata. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And to all of our guides and family that are equally here supporting us as we rise together as one. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We love you. We are you. We are one. And together as one, this is how we have won.
Ta-da!
All right, beloveds, have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful everything. Go find the greatest ways to inspire yourself, inspire our family, inspire us so we can inspire you even more. And this is just the start of everything that we came here to be a part of. And thank you for being a part of this and co-creating this with us. We love you so much. Aloha.
Aloha.